Beautiful, and welcoming you to Gentle Yoga. Today we are going to start in our usual upright seated posture. So finding a way to sit that feels supported and stable for you. Maybe grabbing that block and placing it underneath the sit bones. Right, maybe it's 2 blocks. Maybe there's another way you want to sit this morning. As we begin to settle in, we might just begin by resting the hand on the heart and the hand on the belly. This is one of my, go-to ways to ground myself and come into the present moment. Right? So let's begin by softening the gaze. That might mean a few slow blinks of the eyes. Maybe even closing the eyes. And just taking stock for a moment. How am I feeling this morning? Asking yourself, how am I feeling in body? How am I feeling in mind? And allowing the breath to be the thread that holds those two things together. Body and mind woven together by this thread of the breath as we breathe in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Taking a few clearing, cleansing breaths. Option to stay here with the hands as they are, bring the hands down into the lap, or join me in some rounds of alternate nostril breath. Alternate nostril breath, where we take one finger and close and unclose the left nostril, and the thumb will close and unclose the right nostril. So we're moving back and forth between these two sides. And we always begin by inhaling through the left nostril. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. And you might just do a few more rounds at your own pace. I'm not really forcefully pressing the nostrils down. I'm leaving a little bit of room. And I'm not forcing or pushing or pulling the air either. I'm just observing this thread, this flow into one side and out of the other. Alternate nostril breathing. Creating this horseshoe pattern of the breath. In order to bring some balance into the right and left hemispheres in the body and brain. And get the energy moving. So you could continue in this horseshoe pattern for a little while longer, or if you're feeling ready to be finished, the next time you exhale from your left nostril, we begin and end with the left nostril, just bringing the hand down and taking a few breaths during which you can observe any effects from this practice of Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breath. For me, I usually feel some clarity coming into the sinuses or maybe even the mind. I'm feeling if I had felt very scattered in the mind. All right, so let's go ahead and move the body a little bit. I'm going to tuck my chin, lift my head up and back a few times. Right, so a lot of us have been experiencing extra tension as these restrictions are lifted and we go back out into the world, into groups of people who may or may not be vaccinated. And so this area, the head, the neck, the shoulders, a place where we tend to take on a little bit of that burden. Let's see if we can undo the kinks of this new world that we're in. Coming back to center, and I'm going to make some circles of the neck, moving slowly and exploring in one direction and the other direction. And then I might inhale my arms out and up and press the hands to heart center, getting into the flow of my breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Move at your own pace. 2 more. We salute each other and we salute the day. Coming into this moment as fully as we can. Just rubbing the hands together. Rolling the wrists a few times. And maybe just for a moment, creating a little bit of a bowl with your hands and taking a peek down. And maybe just kind of envisioning all the things that these hands are going to do today and recognizing that this is a big deal, right? That we have hands that can make food, right? That can type and communicate, that can touch other people with love, with devotion. And so recognizing the sacredness in the hands. And then we'll come to hands at heart center and take a moment to just dedicate your practice to something or someone in your life right now. Very good. All right, let's crawl forward onto hands and knees. Coming onto your hands and knees. Now, if you have tender wrists, you can always grab the blocks anytime. But we will start with a little bit of wrist stretch. So with my hands underneath my shoulders, I'll just begin to circle the whole body in one direction. So the weight is dispersed across my hands. I can feel that stretch in my wrists. And then I might move in the other direction, just kind of getting my bearings here this morning or whenever you're watching, keeping your breath moving. And then from here, it just naturally comes into the spine, this movement as we sink the belly, lift the head, heart, and then round the back, push into the hands, tuck the chin. Moving back and forth at your own pace with the breath. Inhale and exhale, moving again at your own pace. And then once you feel like the spine is lubricated, we'll stretch that right leg out. Stretch the right leg out and rock forward and rock back. I'm going to lift my right heel up, nice and straight out from the hip, really strong as if I could kick the wall behind me. And I'm pulling the toe towards my face. Good, and then I'll release that down, just kind of exploring to see how that felt. Left leg long now. Rock forward, rock back, toe on the ground, a nice stretch. And then we'll lift that left heel. Punch the wall behind you with that left heel. Pull the toes towards your face. and release down. Right? And then from here, I might come up onto my blocks because I want to do a little crunch with the legs. Right? So I'm going to lift my right leg out, and then I'm going to crunch that knee up and in. So with my hands on the blocks, I have a little more space to do that. So I'm just going to do the right leg 5 times. Good. And I might, not round my back so much if I have osteoporosis. It's more about the leg. Good. So that feels like 5. Probably wasn't, but hey, we'll do the other side. Left leg long, big breath in. As you exhale, squeeze the knee up towards the chest. Inhale, kick the wall. Exhale, squeeze it in, moving at your own pace. Total of 5. All right. Then we're going to come down onto hands and knees and take a child's pose just to stretch the spine. So I like my child's pose with the knees apart, but you could bring the knees together if that felt better. And I'm going to rest my forehead on the earth. You could always use a block if the floor feels far away. You could use a pillow or a bolster as well. So just finding your child's pose. And if you're looking for a little extra something, you might bend the elbows and place the hands in prayer pose above the head, right? So that I'm getting this little extra stretch in my shoulders. Inhale, fill up the back with your breath. Exhale, feel that length in the spine. Good, and then we're going to slowly come up. Reset the knees, reset the hands, tuck the toes under, make your way to downward facing dog. I'm not in any hurry to get there. Right, so I'm going to take my time. I might take a peek at my hands and ensure that I am placing the weight evenly across my hands, not just into the heels of my hands, but the mounds underneath my fingers. And then I might take a peek back at my feet as I pedal out 1 foot at a time and make sure I can't see my heels. And then eventually maybe the heels start to anchor down into the earth. Big breath in, breath out. Maybe the knees stay bent the whole time. That's fine. That's good. And now I'm going to come forward to a high plank. If at any time you feel like you need to come out of the high plank, come out by bringing the knees down, right? But I'm going to try to stay here for 5 breaths, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Lots of space in the shoulder joints, pushing the earth away. A little roundedness to the upper back. And 1 more breath with me. Really good. Come down onto the knees and all the way down onto the belly. I'm going to create a pillow with my forearms for my head. And I'm going to just rest my forehead on the earth for 1 moment. And then what I'd like is for you to just lift the head up, right? So we're just trying to confine the movement to the head without extending or arching the neck too much. So just lifting the head up, right? And then you might stay here with the arms where they are, or you might like to bring the hands by the rib cage like we typically do for baby Cobra, squeezing the elbows together, squeezing the shoulder blades, and then lifting the head just as we did. You might hold here for 3 breaths. Not much weight in the hands. As you're ready, slowly come down. If you'd like a little break, you could rest the cheek on the mat. You could let the arms come down at the sides, and you might bend the knees. Just wash the feet from side to side, kind of loosen things up And I, recall from our times together practicing in person, one of my most favorite views was to look out on a sea of these happy feet, all of you washing your feet from side to side. And I just would think to myself, happy feet. As you're ready, we'll come up onto the forearms. Coming up onto the forearms, elbows right underneath the shoulders. And I got a lot of space between my fingers here. So Larry, we're going to do a forearm plank. If you want to do a high plank, that's an option. I like what you're doing though. The side bends look good. So I'm going to tuck my toes under and lift my hips and push the earth away with some space in my shoulder joints and see if I can hold my forearm plank for 5 breaths. Pulling the belly up and in. Strong through the legs as well. And then as I'm ready, I'll just allow the torso to come back down to earth and lift my heart into Sphinx Pose. Lengthening the back of the neck and pushing the pubic bone down into the earth. Almost drawing myself forward, pulling myself forward with my forearms. Good, and then I might take one more forearm plank, or you could do a child's pose, okay? So forearm plank coming up onto the elbows. If this feels in any way uncomfortable, you're feeling any pain, skip it, go to child's pose, or you might hold this for another 2 breaths. Good. And then I'm going to slowly make my way to another child's pose. All right, so setting up the knees however you like, resting the forehead on the earth or pillow or block. Maybe you take those hands in prayer pose above the head again. Option to elevate the elbows onto blocks, and that gives me just a little extra stretch, but it might not be necessary for you depending on the range of mobility in your shoulders. And then when you're ready to come up, let's come up nice and slow. And I'm going to balance on my knees just for a moment, balancing on my knees. And I'll roll my shoulders up, back, and down. Roll my shoulders up, back, and down. And then I might put my hands in my back pockets and just lean back a little bit, strong through the core, strong through the legs. Squeeze the elbows towards each other. Kind of feel that openness in the chest and the heart. And then coming back to neutral, I'll step my 1 foot forward, tuck my back toe under, and push my way up. Right, and I might even get into that exercise of pushing myself up a few times. Or I might be like, okay, I'm up, I'm done. Yeah, and if you're doing that push-up, you might switch sides and take a few push-ups on the other side. By push-ups, I mean transitions to standing. Good, and then once you become vertical, you could take that sip of water, coffee if you're still drinking coffee. Important to hydrate. All right, coming to the top of your mat, finding your mountain pose. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, slow fold forward all the way down, but only as far as feels safe, maybe a soft bend to the knees. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Palms press to heart center. Inhale, arms rise out and up. Exhale, slow fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise out and up. Palms press to heart center. Last one, rinsing the spine. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, slow fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, palms to heart center. And maybe we stay here for 3 breaths, resting the hands on the sternum and reminding yourself why you're here today. Why are you here today? Good. We'll rub those hands together. Roll the wrists a few times. Take a little bit of a wider stance. Open the arms out to the sides. Big breath in. Exhale, twist the torso loosely to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, torso twisting left. The hips go with you. Coming back to center. Moving at your own pace. Right, maybe we take one more on each side. And then as you come back to center, give yourself a hug. Right, maybe tucking the chin and breathing into that openness in the upper back. Open the arms wide and switch sides. Different arm on top. That's good, Larry. I'm liking that one. Tucking the chin, breathing into the back of the body. Good, and then we'll release and roll the shoulders up, back, and down once or twice. See how that would feel. Awesome, okay. So I would like to take a chair pose. And today I'm going to take 2 blocks. One block is going to go between my thighs. And the other block is going to be for my hands. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze this block between my legs. And if that just feels really uncomfortable for you, you don't have to do it. You don't have to use a block. So with my block between my legs, I'm going to sink a little bit down and I'm going to push my hips back, squeeze that block, use the core, and then the arms can reach straight out in front. And I'm kind of, I have my palms are flat and I'm just pushing both hands into the block. So this is a strength building moment that we're having together. Inhale, exhale, you might sink a little deeper. Now we'll inhale, straighten the legs, arms rise up. Exhale, sink back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink back down, maybe a little deeper. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. And one more lift. And sink down, hold your chair pose, squeeze the blocks. Good, and then I'm gonna come up and I'm just gonna hug my block in my arms, unless this feels constricting to me. Right, Larry, I might skip this one. And I might just, kind of tuck my chin a little bit. And then from here, I'll release the block between my thighs and I'll just bring the block into my hands once again. Straight out. So a little bit of pressure into the block. And then I'll lift the block. I'll bend my elbows, pushing into the block. And then lifting the block overhead. Coming back to the bent elbows. Pushing the arms straight out. Bending the elbows. Lift the block overhead. Come back down, bend elbows, block straight out, bend elbows, all the way up, bend elbows, block straight out, and I'll sink back down into my chair pose and push the feet apart. See if I can hold this for 3 breaths. And then as I'm ready, Coming back up and just tossing my block to the side. Taking that nice wide stance on the mat, or wide-ish. I'm just gonna lift my right arm up and reach to the left. Side bending. And other side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, stretch. It's good. Taking one more on each side. Just enjoying having a body, enjoying being in a body. And then we'll come back to center. I'm going to interlace my fingers behind my back. If this is not easy for you, you can grab a strap. Right? If it doesn't feel natural to do this, grab a strap. I'm going to normalize the use of props. And I'm just going to lift my arms up away from the back of my body, lift my heart, pull the belly in, and take 2 breaths. Good, and then releasing all the way out. So taking a block into one hand and a nice wide stance. I'm gonna doing like some bicep curls with my block. Okay, so I was thinking this morning about strength and strengthening and how we can do more strengthening. And I was just playing around with my blocks, and this felt really good to me. They're kind of making a muscle with that block in the hand. Right? So I like to do like maybe 10 on each side. Breathing in and breathing out. And when you're ready, switching sides. Like, it's too bad my block is so light, right? But it's actually good because I'm still really working to hug the muscle along the bone. One side might feel different, so I'm lifting my arm out to the side. Yeah, that's good, Judy. Good, maybe one more. And then releasing that block down and maybe making some arm circles, one direction and the other. Good, and then I'll go ahead and step to my mountain pose, step that right foot forward, left foot back in a high lunge. I've got all 10 toes to the top of my mat, and that back heel is lifted. I'm gonna engage my left glute muscle and kind of really gently pull the belly button towards the spine so that pelvic bowl is tipping back a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna lift the arms up. Maybe you hook the thumbs and lift the chest like you're busting through that finish line tape without losing the strength in the core. That's good, guys. Let's take 3 breaths here, strong through that left glute. Lifting the heart. That's good now. Beautiful. Then I'll bring my hands to heart center, just like we did last week, thinking about making this transition and making it fun as we step to the top of the mat. Let's see if we can hold a little bit of a balance pose here, just lifting this left knee up. Maybe roll the ankle a few times. If you need to touch down, that's fine. Good, Judy's. I've got 2 Judy's. Awesome, Goldens. 2 of those too. And then releasing down, and let's go ahead and switch sides. So right foot back, left foot forward, all 10 toes to the top of the mat, back heel lifted. Find a nice wide base because this can be a little wobbly. And then engaging that right glute muscle and tucking the belly in as we lift the arms up, opposite thumb on top, hooking the thumbs. Lifting the heart without losing that good stable base. Finding your breath, 3 breaths. Very good. Hands to heart center, and I'm just visualizing my next move before doing it. I'm going to step up to my balance shape, holding that right knee up and rolling the ankle. Seeing how that would feel. If I need to touch down, that's fine. All right, and then releasing down from here. Okay, so I'd like to try, I don't know, I read about this in a blog post this morning. I get the Yoga for Healthy Aging blog post, and this morning's topic was strengthening, because we do lose muscle as we age. And so it got me all inspired to like, oh my God, my muscles. They had a pose, the chair pose. We're going to try the chair pose today with the heels lifted, right? With the heels lifted. So I might come into my chair pose and just do one heel lifted and see how that felt. And then the other heel lifted to see how that felt. Maybe the hands stay on the hips, right? And then I might slowly try to lift both heels. If I felt okay there, I might reach the arms forward, pull the belly in. That's good. If you've got tenderness in the low back, you might bring the heels down. It's hard, right? You feel this in your legs? Oh my Lord, feels good. Big breath in, and then sigh it out, and we'll come up, arms rising up, hands to heart center, and then let's walk that out a little bit. Take our hip rotation dance as if you're stepping over a hurdle, kind of exaggerating this movement. That's right. Now she's got the opposite arms already in motion. Kind of making this into a little modern dance moment. Good. Breath in, breath out, or any other movement that your body's asking for. All right. So what else could we do for strength? I know that my warrior 3 pose is something that I'm really trying to work on holding. And I'd like to offer you the option to do a more dynamic version of this. I'm taking a sip of water if you need it. But I'm going to come to the top of my mat, and I'll begin to bring the weight into my right foot. And I'll just slowly bring that left toe, trailing the left toe behind me, leaning the heart forward. Maybe the arms come out to the sides. Maybe I just pick up that left heel a little bit, like we did at the beginning, kicking the heel towards the wall behind you. Maybe a little bend to that right knee. Maybe you can get a little farther down, torso coming a little closer to the earth. Maybe you use a piece of furniture or the wall. Seeing if you can hold this for 3 breaths. Good. Come back up nice and slow. Awesome, guys. And you're like, what is she doing to us this morning? It's good, right? You're going to feel so good. So we'll bring the weight now into the left foot. Start to trail the right toe behind. Arms might come out to the sides. This might be where you stay, right? This side could feel different, but I'm going to work towards kind of reaching into my warrior 3 pose. Maybe I, kind of touch down and lift a few times. Maybe I can hold. Maybe I can find my breath. That's great, guys. Kind of like an airplane. One more breath. And then slow release out. And walk it out. All right, round of applause for you. Nice. All right, so nice wide stance on the mat. We're going to come into warrior 2 just to give the hips a little something else. Right toes to the right. Angle the left toes in. Bend into that right knee. Open your arms out equally in both directions. And another little cue for you to think about, hugging the muscles in the arms along the bones. Like really try to activate your arms and then take that peek over the right hand. If that feels like too much on the neck, you can just look straight forward. Notice if you're kind of reaching more forward than you are back, and try to find that sweet spot. right in the present moment. Big breath in, breath out, hugging the muscle along the bone in the arms and the legs. We know this is helpful, this pose, helpful for bone strengthening and helps you get into your bathing suit season, right? Helps you get into the bathing suit season. So from here, I'm going to reach my right arm forward, and I might bring my right hand down onto my knee and lift that left arm up. Or I might be able to come down a little bit farther and bring the forearm down and lift that left arm over towards my ear. So I've got some options here. I'm not going to force it. Extended side angle is a very strong pose. Right? So my left shoulder is back. You could always have that left hand on the hip. That would feel better, pulling the belly in. That's good, Carol. Take care of your back. One more breath. And then we're coming up nice and slow. All 10 toes to the side of the mat, and take some hip circles with me, breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. And then we'll hit those same two poses on the other side. Left toes to the left. Angle the right foot in, bend into that right knee. Yes, and open your wings. Equally in both directions. Reaching forward, reaching back, finding your sweet spot in the present moment. And then as you gaze over your left hand or thereabouts, I'd like you to activate as many muscles as you can. For me, it's like the biceps and the triceps. I'm activating my triceps. And then, of course, all the muscles in my thighs, really trying to get the muscles along my hips activated. Big breath in, breath out. Reaching forward with that left arm and bringing that left arm down, extended side angle, right? So maybe I stay with my hand on my knee, right? Or maybe I can bring my forearm down. I'm getting there slowly. I'm just asking my body what it wants. What does it want to do today? Right? If you're feeling tenderness in the low back, maybe you come up a little bit. Maybe keep that right hand on the hip, right? Find the length. Right? Really stretch so you feel that side body. That's good. As you're ready, come on up. Come on up, all 10 toes to the side of the mat. Still in our wide-legged stance, we'll take a wide-legged forward fold. Breath in. Breath out, slow fold forward, hands sliding down the legs. And you might stay somewhat lifted with a flat back. You might grab your blocks underneath the shoulders. You might bring the hands down onto the earth. You might walk the hands back to line up with the heels. So it's all a journey towards, the amount of sensation that feels right for you. And you might notice your hands again, as we did at the beginning of class. And notice the vitality moving through your upper body. Good. We'll make our way up nice and slow. How would it feel to hop the feet back to center? Good, and take a little walk to the back of your mat. Feet together, arms out to the sides like a tightrope walker. Cue the circus music as we walk the balance beam or the tightrope as I step my right foot in front of the left, heel to toe, toe to heel. Maybe today I feel like I could soften my gaze or close my eyes altogether. Closing my eyes altogether, a little bend to both knees and leaning forward a little bit helps me a lot. Right? If you need to use the hands to kind of keep yourself stable, that's good. We walk to the back of the mat. eyes closed or eyes open. And one last walk to the top of the mat, unless you're already there. And just taking a moment and coming into your mountain pose. Coming into your mountain pose, noticing the feet, closing the eyes, feeling the strength that we have cultivated in the legs, the strength that we've cultivated in the core, and the strength that we've cultivated in the upper body. Can you take 3 breaths here, feeling the whole body, feeling the strength and vitality in your whole entire body from head to toe? Good. Now I'll step 1 foot forward and stagger the back foot. Drop the back knee down. Come to balance on the knees momentarily, and then coming down softly as we bring the legs straight out in front. The legs straight out in front with a soft bend to the knees. Right, so you might decide you need to just rest for a moment. I would like to try a boat pose with you if you're up for it. If you got low back stuff going on today, maybe you really take this easy. Okay, so with my boat pose, I want to avoid this sort of sinking in the low back and rounding here. So I'm just going to try to sit up nice and tall. And this might be kind of where I stay. I might grab onto the back of my legs. And I might try lifting one leg up and then the other leg up. This feels like a lot of work already, right? But I might be able to lean back a little bit without losing that nice, straight, flat back. Maybe there's a little bit of rounding, that's okay. Now I might be able to lift up both legs and kind of find the balance. So this is actually a balance pose. Often it's touted as a core pose, which it is core strengthening. But find the balance here, that's the trick. And then from here, maybe the arms reach out straight in front. You pull that belly in and you find your breath. That's good, Carol. Good, and then releasing down. I'm just gonna bring my feet down and for a moment, just rest my arms on my thighs, on my legs. Good option to come up into one more boat pose. Any of those modifications that felt good to you. Maybe you just go right to point B, point C. Maybe you feel like pedaling out the feet. Maybe you're skipping this one. It's all good. Finding your breath. Good. And then we'll come back down. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. Knees drifting apart. Massage the feet, lean forward, keep a flat back. If this feels really difficult for you, keep the hands behind you. Just lift the heart. Yeah, that's good. All right. Doing so well today, guys. And we're coming into the final stretch of our class. But I'd like you to do one more thing for me that's upper body strengthening, okay? So I'm gonna bring my hands behind me with the fingers pointed to the edges of the mat. And just coming into this, feeling the openness in my chest, gripping the mat, gripping the floor with my hands, pushing my hips up, coming into a reverse tabletop, right? I might hold here for 3 breaths. I might come up and down a little bit. I might make this more dynamic. If you're here and it feels okay, maybe you lift the hips a little higher. Finding your breath. Maybe you start to kind of lean the weight forward a little bit, get a stretch in the shoulders. Good, and then I'm coming down nice and slow. I'm coming to rest on my back. Coming to rest on the back. That's good, Larry. Taking my sip of water if I need it as we begin to wind down. So let's take the arms out to the sides and bring the feet out to the width of the mat with the knees bent. And I'm just going to drop both knees to one side, doesn't matter which, and allow gravity to do the rest. And then coming back to center, dropping the knees to the other side. Right, that's good, Larry, doing this seated. And moving back and forth a few more times if you'd like to linger on any one side because you feel extra sensation, feels like you might benefit from staying there. Go ahead and do that. And then as you're ready, go ahead and hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit, massage the sacrum. Notice if you're feeling any tenderness in the low back. Try not to judge that. And then I'll keep my right knee hugged in. Press the left leg long. Maybe it comes down all the way down, heel down. Strong through that left leg, we'll grab onto the back of the right thigh. Push the foot up towards the ceiling, roll the ankle a few times. And I'm pushing my leg into my hand and pulling my leg back. So seeing how strongly you want to do this. Pushing the low back down into the earth. Maybe the arms come up a little higher on the leg. Totally up to you. And then as you're ready, hugging that right knee back into the chest and opening that right knee over to the right. Maybe the left arm drifts to the left. Just holding here, allowing the hip to open. Big breath in. Breath out. And then we'll switch sides. So hugging the left knee in, extending the right leg long, strong through that right leg as we grab onto the back of the left thigh and push the foot up towards the ceiling. You could roll the ankle. You could get that conversation going between the leg and the hands so they're, putting pressure on each other, resisting each other. Maybe the arms rise up a little higher, maybe they stay where they are. Pushing that low back down. The leg does not have to be straight. That's good, Mary Jo. And then we're slowly bringing that left knee into the chest and opening it to the side. Drape the right arm to the right if it feels good. Good, and then releasing, we'll bring both feet to the earth with the knees bent. Grabbing a block between the thighs for bridge pose. Always an option, Larry, to do your camel pose on the knees for a little bit of a back bend here. So I'm going to squeeze that block between my knees. And even just that feels like it's strengthening for me. Come into robot arms. Elbows bent, fingertips tickling the ceiling. I'll push into the earth, lift my heart, push into the earth, lift my hips. Maybe you stay here, looking straight down the nose. Maybe you interlace the fingers underneath the body, wriggle the shoulders, get a little higher. Push the hips. Push the low back, middle back, upper back. Find 3 breaths. And then as you're ready to come out, lifting the arms up overhead. And then slowly finding vertebra by vertebra. Setting each down, seeing if you can really notice. that felt really good and you want to lift the hips again and set the spine down again, go ahead. Right? If you're ready to come out of this, just taking the block to the side and bringing the feet out to the width of the mat one more time. Windshield wipering the knees. Good, and then we'll take one more pose here, or two more poses. First, our spinal twist. So perhaps the right knee crossing over the left, the knees nestling together. And we drop the knees to the left side. So taking this twist, while the right shoulder stays grounding down. If it feels like you need a little support under the knees, you could take that block and give yourself something to rest the knees on. If it feels like too aggressive. Finding 5 breaths here. Inhale 1, exhale 1. Inhale 2, exhale 2. Moving at your own pace, taking 3 more breaths. Slowly making your way back through center, crossing the left knee over, guiding your knees to the right. Left arm reaching to the left. Maybe a block for support underneath those knees. Letting breath and gravity do the work for 5 breaths. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. Continuing on at your own pace. Just beginning to let go a little bit. And then as you're ready, coming back to center, hugging the knees into the chest one last time. And then option to find a legs up the chair or couch, right? So if you have something nearby that's easy for you to bring the legs up onto the edge of, you could do that, right? Or you could go to Savasana, your final lengthening resting pose. Right? Totally up to you what you choose in this moment. The legs up the chair or couch can be wonderful for, if we've done a lot of work with the legs today, with all those chair pose lifts, the lunges and the warrior threes. So giving the legs a little bit of relaxation, right? But if you're in Shavasana, that's wonderful as well. It's beginning to tune in to your body's connection with the grounds, with the chair, if you're using one. You're filling up your whole body with your awareness. The whole body is breathing. An option to stay in the legs supported pose if you're here. Or if you want to come to Shavasana, now would be the time to change for just a minute longer. Wherever you are, just beginning to let go of holding any effort in the body. Letting go of the jaw. Releasing the effort from the shoulders, allowing the belly to be soft. Maybe following the thread of your breath for 5 breaths. Just following the breath as you lay on the back. And as you're ready, beginning to come back into the body, noticing the breath, making small movements. Hugging the knees in, rolling to one side. Giving yourself a hug, even if you're seated. And then gently rocking up to sit. If you're not already there, we'll bring hands together at heart center if it's in your practice. Just taking a moment to thank yourself for this practice and sending this devotion out to those who may be suffering. May all beings everywhere be free and happy, and may our thoughts, words, and actions in some way contribute to that. Thanking you so much for your practice today. Namaste.